Now, joining us from Lagos, Nigeria to unpack this is Barrister Jide Ologun. He is a public affairs analyst. Hello, Jide, and thanks for joining us on NC Continental Prime.
Very much. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Happy to have you here with us too. Now, Jide, we do not have the names yet, but it's confirmed that 10 aspirants were dropped, screened by the APC Presidential Screening Committee. What is your reaction to that news?
Basically, that is the essence of the screening. The screening is to finally identify those who meet the criteria to be presented to delegates for election at primary level to represent the party at the general election. So we must commend the team for doing a thorough job. And of course, I believe that there should be avenues of appeal, but they must have prompted their benchmarks to screen the candidates. And I think this will also reduce the weight of assignment for this team, in the sense that you now have less candidates jostling for just one seat, which is the seat of the president. So I want to say, in a way, it has reduced the activities going forward. And we are just a few days to the primary now. And we
Now, Jide, this might sound like, yes, it might sound like I'm putting you on the spot, but what criteria was used to screen out those that they make the final list? And is it possible for you to guess who and who could have been dropped from this list?
At this point, the names have not been released, so you may not be able to guess. And of course, at this level, it is an intra-party activity. So they should have their screening benchmarks, which has not been fully revealed to the general public. And I believe that some would not even have expected that some of the candidates would be dropped. And like I said, I know that going along, we may begin to hear some of the issues that were brought forward. But when the president was addressing the governors recently and soliciting that he should be given the opportunity to identify his successor, he mentioned someone who has capacity, someone who will respect the interests of Nigerians, that is not based on religion, ethnicity, or selfish interest.
Okay.
And I believe that generally the APC as a party would have considered, candidates that will be able to stand tall for them, because we should be mindful of the fact that PDP already concluded their own primaries, and they produced a very strong politician to Nigerians, the person of Abdullahi Adamu, who is now to represent the PDP. So APC must ensure that the candidate they also prompt
should be strong and formidable and should be able to go toe-to-toe with the former vice president. Now, Barrister Ologun, do you foresee this development of screening out some of the candidates that won't make it to the APC convention on Monday? Do you think screening them out and disqualifying them could create some form of rancor and disunity within the party?
Definitely, but there must have been a mechanism for the party to handle that. And of course, there are three aspects of this primary. You either have direct primary, indirect, or consensus. And they have rolled out the conditions. Even under consensus, those who are going to step aside, we have to sign to that effect, and donate parties have rolled out a mechanism to handle those who may want to protest. And one of the outcomes may be some of the key members stepping out to other parties. But as we speak right now, the two mega parties in Nigeria are the APC and the PDP. And we just expect that APC will be able to handle, but I still have the anxiety of which zone exactly is the presidency going to the ticket because what was expected by doctrine of convenience is that it should come to the south. And at a point, the party said, okay, it should come to the south, but did not specify whether it's south-south or southeast or southwest.
Okay, and finally, Jide, it was in the news a couple of days ago, and you did mention it in passing, that the president held a meeting with APC governors with the agenda of being able to pick his own successor. How do you think this statement will play out in the choice of APC's decision to choose a presidential flag bearer? Because the PDP has already made the decision known. They've put forth the former vice president of Nigeria, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar.
Already consulting. Yeah. The governors are already consulting, and from the feelers we have been getting, the governors are looking at one of them to be presented as the presidential candidate. And of course, they are also considering the fact that the person must have capacity, must be able to unite the people and not be religious or ethno in presentation. But having said that, there are other candidates who are not governors and from the governorship circle. But by and large, it is expected that internal democracy should be allowed. Democracy is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And I expect that the major stakeholders in the party will prevail on allowing the stakeholders to have their say, rather than just handpicking someone to be imposed on the party. So that is an assignment for the president, even though some have said that the president was quoted out of context. And of course, he should be interested in who succeeds in. But the process must be seen to be democratic. And like I said earlier, it's either direct primaries or indirect or consensus. But we must be able to ascertain at the end of the day that it is participatory. But if you go back in time, how the chairman of the party emerged, it was more like the candidates that the president preferred, through consensus, because he was not so prominent amongst those people expected to emerge as the chairman in the case of the presidential candidate. But what happens thereafter, if the major stakeholders are not satisfied, it may cause a serious crack.
Or even break the party up. Thank you very much, Barrister Jide Ologun, for your insights and time. We do appreciate your contributions.